with time winding down, this is where a lot of people will be put to the test. But I will say, if you were able to pick up some points in that last game, at least you're not starting from scratch in terms of that leaderboard. If you don't win a game on the day, you can at least qualify for something. There's Reason and Bag Chaser contested against Cade and his duo over towards Snooty Steps. But it does look like Cade and his duo are the ones that actually get the medallion this time around over towards Snooty Steps. They're the one contesting it right out of the gates. But will a fight ensue between Reason and Bag Chaser? Only time will tell.
I believe last match, Resin and Bag Chaser ended up kind of getting a bit delayed in the storm. But it wasn't from the start of the match. It was already third, fourth zone. So I don't think they play overly aggressive commencing, but a duo that does play quite aggressive at the start, Malibu and th0masHD, they did come out on top in this off-span and in an off-spawn engagement in the first match, so we'll see if they're able to do that once again.
It does look like right out of the gates, but I'm just watching the mini-map intently. Chap and Khan finally making their way in, but instead of just going right after Malibu and th0masHD, they're hiding. They're waiting for an opportunity. Have to be careful. They're using the NPCs and the audio visuals as a chance to try to move their way in, but he sees it coming from a mile away, stops that one short, backs his opponent up. Cade actually got an elimination as well over towards Snooty Steps, so a lot of these POIs that are contested are getting action right out of the gates.
That's what I love. You can tell Malibu and th0masHD have studied exactly how to get that medallion, how to take out that NPC. They had their own little kind of setup there where they were ready for their opponents to sneak in. They had every other place blocked off and they were just focused on taking out the NPC, and it saved them. th0masHD instantly took that first shot when they tried sneaking up. But taking a look now, Th0masHD, Queasy, 1 elim on the board so far, looking like they started off strong.
I would say, luckily, this is a team that doesn't necessarily need all this good loot to perform. It just helps them that much more. And you see Thomas and how he got that elimination onto Knobs, just burst his way up, catching Knobs off guard. And in some of those spots on that building, you cannot build to protect yourself. You have to be very, very precise. And I got to imagine Thomas had some inkling of that knowledge as he go ahead and makes the push. And you can see Queasy and Thomas both looking for that last player who's still alive. Even, I think that was Vico or Pink that got the elimination onto Veno as well.
Cringe now.
Oh.
Gonna be sent right back to where his duo partner was waiting for him in the lobby. Th0masHD, Queasy, kings of Lavish Lair in the second match.
Now they're gonna get all that loot to themselves. Nobody really around on the outskirts. And the only thing I feel like that's missing right now from this loadout is a Reaper Sniper for Th0masHD. I think everybody knows at this point in time, watching FNCS, Thomas and a sniper go together like so many great things in the world, like peanut butter and jelly. Crunchy kind of guy myself, but it's just preference.
You know, me too, I'll take it.
Whew, I knew it. I knew we were a pair. I knew we were a pair. Just like
It was meant to be. It was meant to be. Kemi and Seti might be a little bit of a better pair. I mean, they did, they have quite a bit of history. They have a trophy as well. You know, we have yet to get that one, Jacob, but one day, maybe, we can make it happen. Kemi and Seti, so far, following what they love to do. Not very contested right off the bat, just going with their loot path, going with what they've planned out. For Veno and Tayson, though, look at Veno's HP. They got to a sticky situation here, although without getting knocked, it looks like they should be able to just recuperate it and heal back up, but that could have been bad.
Yeah, especially since I thought I saw in the beginning of the game that Veno was actually knocked early on, so you got to give it to Tayson, not only being able to get that revive, but being able to push that team off of Grand Glacier, give them a second chance. And kind of just judging by the loadout, they may not have been able to get the medallion, to get the loot in which they were able to get last game, but hey, having a chance to play it out is better than not. That was Kiro and Kudo that's disengaging on Al, but it actually looks like they're returning back towards Grand Glacier to finish what they started.
Ooh. Healed back up. Got hydrated. Now feeling refreshed and ready for round 2. Kiro seeing if they can potentially maybe find an angle, but it looks like they're even more focused on just continuing their loot path continuing to get the ammunition, even the materials, and I don't even think they want to do something too aggressive here.
Just everybody all over the map. Ping's mixing over there. Podesai, Snazy off the side of the mountain. Another team nearby as well. It does look like they're disengaging though. You don't want to get stuck between a rock and a hard place too early on in these games. There's only been 2 teams down so far. Plenty of placement points left. You're seeing the crash pad combination come out. A little bit of a hiccup there coming out for Snazy, but not something that he can't overcome here momentarily. But they're actually getting tagged up, which means him and his teammate are separated. Flowberry Fizz coming out because at least he can trickle down the mountain without taking fall damage and reunite with Podesai before they continue their journey outward. But Mixin and Pings are just hot on their heels. They realize the mistakes that have been had and possibly see them as a weaker team, but so much distance already being gained by Podesai and Snazy. I think they've done enough to disengage out of this one and not cause a chase.
The problem there was the material count for Podesai and Snazy. They only had, I believe, 7 builds by the time they made it to the bottom of the hill. So it was difficult, and it's also going to be difficult for Th0, as it looks like he's lost Tayson. 11 HP. Looks like it was basically just rebooted. As now, Kiro up ahead. Th0 trying to stay as hidden as he possibly can, as it's going to be quite the journey to find a way to bring Tayson back. Looks like he's still taking a look around Grand Glacier. Let's see how this happened.
Yeah, just really unfortunate circumstances to start this game for Th0 and Tayson. And it does look like what we saw before we left was actually true, but Tayson was at least able to get a knock onto one. But the damage seems like it's just too much. And then you have the Thunderburst, waste no time getting into the box. You kind of see in the minimap there, Th0 and the distance that he has. Once again, a lot of information to be gained from the minimap. It is going to be a 2v1 scenario as they return back towards Th0, hoping to probably solidify this elimination.
Round 3. It's actually iDrop Nebs. It's not the duo that took out Tayson, so maybe they won't be going for Th0 here. They wouldn't know, or shouldn't hopefully know he's a solo, but if they have been paying attention to the feed, if they put in that homework that we talked about before, it might just grant them an advantage in this engagement for the 2 versus 1. And it looks like they're interested. They smell something. Is Th0 cooking something in these boxes? It looks like they want a piece of it, as now Th0 starts his run, his escape route. But Nebs hits the snipe, cracks Th0, and the hunt continues.
Almost tagged him in the Achilles heel, and now they're just pressuring him. And since now they're going in the cave, a lot of Th0's options are going to be taken down. iDrop on the other side, shots going through the builds, and it's just too much to overcome. Th0 and Tayson go down so early in this game. At least they were able to get some points for elimination, so they're not going to be left with nothing as we jump on board Bag Chaser and Reason getting elimination as well, just outside of Pleasant and Piazza. So even though they got more rotation to go, at least they're picking up eliminations along the way to help with their storm surge.
2 elims on the board now. Once again, though, they are inside the zone. Similarly to the previous match, where around the 3rd zone, they did take an engagement, but it took way longer and they weren't able to make it back. Now they have gotten those eliminations. They do have the crash pad float berry fizz combination that we're about to see shortly here. To go a long distance, you can see flying across the map, and it's Volko and Vortexers that are going to take some shots at them.
A lot of these players positioned on the southeast of the map right now, Takata, or at least in that direction. Still have more to overcome, but as I see the feed, it does look like Mustache and Malibuka were able to not only get 1, but 2 eliminations, taking down the full team of Seti and Cammy.
Ooh.
Vox is going to be taken down by Th0mas and Queasy. They have 3 eliminations, so it's only going to be 1 player of a new team that they've been able to take down so far. You have to remember the 2 eliminations they were able to get on Noms and Cridge off of spawn, so you can see like they might be on the chase. This is how he was able to pick the first one on a Noms. 2 players just spraying into your box, and then you got the Flowberry effect to where it's not really able to kind of box yourself up in situations like that.
I'm feeling a bit of fire in Th0masHD right now. I don't know if it's the 3 eliminations or just the way he's moving. But I got a good feeling about this duo for today. I love seeing that Reaper sniper in his hand. Looks like they're going to be rotating on the edge of Storm here, making sure they're maxed out wood brick. Hopefully can get a bit of metal as they get closer to the Lavish here. As now they continue to kind of look around, and honestly, with the 3 eliminations, they don't have to worry too much about damage. It's more maybe even just going to the uncongested side here of zone and getting the safer rotates in, as all they really want now is that victory royale. We can take a sneak peek at the presents that th0masHD and Malabuka got gifted here, the extra loot from those eliminations now that they can put good use to.
You know, in most cases, I would say teams that started the game in 6th place don't have too much to worry about. They're on a consistent track, at least to qualify to the next stage of the upper bracket instead of falling to the lowers. But Malabuka and th0masHD, they have their eyes set on a win here today. They want to go ahead and bypass the entirety of the rest of the weekend, just like Banyak and Sined so far. And you can see that in zone for now, but they want to get deeper in towards the zone. Crash pad rotate. There was a little bit of 2 separate directions, but the crash pad rotate with the grapple blade, that's not too much of a worry for them as they're quickly on the same track trying to reunite. But you can see Malabuka is going to be one that picks their position in towards the zone. And what a nice kind of pre-rotate coming up through. They knew it was going to go deeper, probably had some inkling due to Rift Island. So now they can be probably one of the teams that's positioned the best in the zone.
I was wondering, was that a miscalculation when they went 2 separate ways, or is it something that I haven't figured out yet? But it looks like they're grouped up now. Wheat Shamoki are going to be the ones on top of the Reckless Railways building here. Have a good amount of vision of the surrounding area. A lot of players going to be rotating through here. A lot of players already boxed up, trying to refarm their materials in the buildings. It's a good place to be, to get tags, take shots, even with a train coming through. Hopefully there's no sneaky people hiding on it. Rift Island appears now. Opens up that opportunity to box up the rifts for mobility, or even just try and take the island for that extra loot, or get that damage, as you know there's going to be players around here.
Yeah, for them, they absolutely need this loot, because Dre's going to use one of his med kits, all of his bigs, just to heal up to 200 effective shield and HP. So it's almost going to be a must. And you see his teammate just trying to go ahead and farm up while he's capturing. Him and Ricky seem to be the only players up there without contestation, so got to imagine it's going to be solidified. As Shaco's and Skydune positioned above SS Double and his teammate. Not the most comfortable position to be in, but as long as they're not trying to push their way upward, might not have too much to worry about. But here in the Flowberry Fizz, that's at least something you got to watch out for. You calm that over to your teammate. You let them know, be careful. They might try to hop up, because information is so important at this stage in the game.
It grants that mobility boost, like you're talking about. Jump higher, make it further, and if you combine it with the crash pads, you basically turn into a bird flying through the sky. Shake cost now, Skydune 75 above, not liking the loadout too much. I mean, you've got the weapons, but only 56 shots in the Striker AR. 26 on the hammer pump's enough, but 3 minis, 2 open slots. 75 above. I don't know, the more I look at it, Jacob, the more I get stressed out here for Skydune and Shakeoffs, but they've got a pretty good base built up. Not a lot of duos in the surrounding area, though. They're all quite far, and with the amount of ammunition they have, it's not like they can take a lot of shots.
Yeah. This is one of those situations to where you either got to hunt down to try to get the damage, as Skydune just did, but he just got tagged up. All of that shield gone just like that. And you can see him just returning back with Shaco's. Hey, maybe I made a little bit of a mistake, but you got to give him A for effort to at least try to get the surge instead of just kind of staying stagnant and letting the problems come to them. Bag Chaser was taken down. Chap might have been a trade between the two, but you got to be careful. Paco Marine are right outside a lot of these boxes. And this is the moment for Reason. As you can hear the weapons cache being captured, that he has to capture this in order to get back into the game. If he does not, I fear that Reason will not make it too much farther in this lobby.
Praying for that med kit, for anything to get his HP back up. Paco Marine. 3 med kits. Not in zone yet, but they're close. Issue is, so are a lot of duos around them, all with the same idea. And all it takes is one shot from that sniper rifle to take him out, as now Resin has picked up combat cash, has gotten the med kit, starts to use it. The pressure's being applied. This duo got eliminated earlier on last match by th0masHD and Malibuka. Now still in the game, as they're gonna try and scavenge up what was left over, but be careful from the backside. Players going through their tarp, but Chapuin is gonna be able to get out. Khan as well, now regrouped.
It's like a breath of fresh air, a sigh of relief. Even Marine still trying to shoot shots in that direction. So the first two teams are going to disengage outward. But a third one slowly but surely rotates in, and that's why you see Paco and Marine slowly but surely staggering their position. They're 28 below the damage threshold. So they want to try to pop some shots in some teams that might not be the most healthy, the backside of zone. They knew at least the solo is going to be nearby, and that's why they're taking this risk. Zangi towards the top. Shots are going to trade off. Nobody on the team of Paco Marine land anything in terms of Storm Surge, so they're still going to be on the hunt deep into zone, into the same box, and Marine's going to be the first one to pay for it. He's going to get knocked down. And now all those medkits, all that loot goes on over to Zangi and Focus.
Medkit being used. Focus now recuperating what was lost during the engagement. They've got the damage they needed, close to 300, but now 6 zone is going to appear. It appears far. They have to make a decent rotate now with all the duos already boxed up as well. Pressure is going to be applied as the grapple blade gets used to get on in here, but will the duos in front of them try and hold them? Will they start rotating? It looks like it's a bit of both as Chap and his duo partner rotate. Meanwhile, Austral and his take shots, and now that the first one has came through, they say, I want a piece of that party too. All the other duos in the surrounding area start to take shots. Luckily enough, though, it's calmed down. Medkit once again being used, and the rotate will continue shortly, but for Kiro, unable to make a rotate as he's getting knocked down. Kiduo now left as a solo.
Yeah, the Surge is really kind of pushing and forcing teams into the action, even if they don't want to, as iDrop and Nebs, they're going to be able to get both of those eliminations so far. It's got to help their Surge, and since they're almost at the top of that mountain, it's got to help their positioning as well. As we tune on Yanis and Flixie, it does look like they got a knock onto th0masHD, kind of separating him from Malibuka as well. But 4 placement points, and you can see the Mythic Lou being dished around. Yanis says, I'll take that one. Medkit as well. And their center zone with all that extra material. So they realistically, Shitagata, don't have to move very far.
They're looking good. They are looking very good right now. 4 elims on the board, mythic loot, 3 medkits, shields, full materials, spare materials to build extra boxes. And can even wait to see where this zone closes to continue to use these mats right now. They could even just build up a little bit for vision. And then as the zones close, use those materials to get closer. This is currently one of the best spots you could be in of the match. But can they hold on to it?
A big question we're asking ourselves as we see the whole south side of the zone. Everybody trickling in one by one, making it harder and harder for a lot of the teams currently in that position, including Pink and Vico, who do look comfortable here on the low ground. You can see they're playing patient, calm, cool, collected, not getting antsy for any of these eliminations. Even if they see a pile of loot, Cade's going to be on the other side of that one. You have to be careful, and just quickly goes in, dips a toe in, takes all that loot on out, and brings it back on over towards their base while the zone's going to pool. Majority of the lobby does have a far pool to go with very few teams already positioned nearby. Pink and Vika are going to have to make one far journey until they find that safety.
Looking brighter for this duo in the second game. They did get taken out early in the first one, but now it's just motivated them that much more. Mythic loadout as well, looking incredibly healthy, and now switching back over to Th0mas and Queasy, boxed up on the snowy mountain here. Zone has pulled towards this side, opens up the risk for the moving zones to go even more north and make those drastic changes in elevation. So you always want to be prepared for those worst case scenarios, positioning yourself in the ideal situation. Yeah,
this is gonna
it
be
really
tough.
is.
Especially for the teams that might not prepare for those pulls. It's okay now. The zone's already there. It's not going to be moving. But if you don't prepare for the different possibilities, we've seen it throughout the past 2 weeks alone in the qualifiers, let alone in Fortnite's history, that it's going to be a roller coaster of emotions if you don't get that pull. Volko's already feeling it. Lost Vortexers. He's having to make this rotation by himself, and just one well-played shot with almost any weapon will do him in. And he's running out of builds as well. The stacks, the odds are all against him here, but at least he found a crevice inside of the zone that he can hang on to, pause, think about what he needs to do next, and formulate some sort of strategy.
Flowbray Fizz getting put to use, fizzing up his little crevice, but the unfortunate news is that there's no materials. You said it yourself, Jacob. One shot, it's all it's gonna take. And Volko is out of the game, but now with the 70 shield,
Oh, tough.
I spoke a little too soon there. I had hopes, but Weed and Shimoki took those hopes from me, as now they've got another Elam on the board. And I see Malabuka close by. Didn't see Merstash. I saw Malabuka, though. Curious to see what is going on there, as Thomas Queasy quickly getting ahead of zone. It has pulled even more east, getting closer and closer to those drastic changes in elevation. And I'm glad to see the duos here preparing for that.
Yeah, you see a lot of these teams that are currently there, positioned high up on the mountain. You want to get there first as quick as possible so you don't have to go through this. And I know this is a nightmare with Malabuka being a solo, but still, even duos are feeling the same pressure going up the mountain. Teams already positioned there, looking towards the back and just getting those shots off. But he found a little bit of a slow rotation. Teams not really able to pinpoint a shot on him just yet because they too have to rotate up this mountain. But Malabuka almost makes a flawless rotate, almost unscathed. I'm even crossing my fingers not to curse him because he's playing that well.
Oh, you can see that he's feeling confident. He has lost his duo partner, but he has what it takes to make something happen. Ping and Mixon, though, are the ones up above, top of the hill, at the peak, and they want to hold on to it.
This could be the perfect time, but 8 zone, some would say just a little too quick. A little too soon, especially if you don't have the materials, as Pink finds another elimination onto CZB. That's going to allow him to get the revive onto Vico, and you're seeing a lot of the heals. They're just tossing them over, making sure that everybody has their preferred loadout. A lot of those HP heals that we've seen go to the heal off in that last game are going to be used in a moment like this. So you almost got to wonder, Pink and Vico, with the amount of heals that they have on them in terms of HP, are they going to need a refresh? And even if they are, how are they going to get it?
Zone pulled south, did not go directly to the water, which is good for a lot of these duos, but it could pull back. 9th zone now, pressure is on. This is where you have to make something happen. Vexy, Porhawa, 2nd place in the first match. Just one away from the VR. They had a bit of a taste of the grand finals, but they're not there yet. The job is still yet to be done as Malabuka continues playing it as a solo.
Yeah, and you can see he's staying on these high layers. He doesn't want to get stuck down below, look weaker than he actually is. And he's using that grapple blade almost perfectly, saving a ton of his builds from point A to point B. You're going to see him do that again. And once again, it's the elevation that he's capturing in a lot of these positions. Even when he gets aggressed on, you see him not taking the time to drop down low. He doesn't want to get stuck in that mess. Great plays by Malabuka, weaving in and out of these builds, but only 127 above the damage threshold. Push is going to come to shove eventually.
Once again, double pull south. You can't reuse your tarps. You cannot reuse the materials when the zone continues to pull far like this. And it's Th0masHD capitalizing on all these duos that are using the grapple blade to conserve materials on these rotates, as Mixon and Ping still up above.
Yeah, buckle up, boys. The roller coaster is going down the mountain now for a lot of these teams. If you're rotating first, that's where you're going to get noticed, but everybody's going to begin to jump on top to try to go ahead and stay away from that low ground layer. Great movement by Flixies and Yanis to stay ahead of the pack, front side of the zone. Malabuka still doing wonders by himself. Found elimination towards the bottom. That's Nebs he's able to clean up. Still trying to get in the box, and eye drop soon to follow. Malabuka, 2 eliminations. Huge refresh in terms of materials, keeping himself moving forward in this game.
And he is not done yet. Looking back over at Flixie, Yanis taking out height. Now they want it. They want to overthrow Mixon and Ping as the battle commences. Another chop down here. Now just has to connect the shot. Mixon, though, still fighting. He wants it as Flixie now put into zone, but it looks like they've taken it.
Theirs to hold on to, especially this late, going to the front side, making sure that you have your foundation set. You gotta imagine that maybe Th0mas is gonna be the one playing heal off. He does have the HP lead, but with no heals to Th0mas, this is where they're gonna have to get aggressive. They're gonna have to find those med kits elsewhere. Unless Queasy has more than enough for the both of them. They continue moving forward up the side of the mountain. 4 eliminations so far onto Th0mas. They're trying to make up for that blunder in game 1. Sandgild's gonna be the first one they spot out, but no aggression just yet. They're just trying to make it by. They don't want to make these risky fights unless they have to.
They want the VR. It's not like they have to rack up double-digit elims like they've done before. They want to secure that victory royale. 4 on the board already for Th0mas. Hopefully, Queasy with some med kits, as now the pressure is on. Malabuka's still up, but he gets dropped down to 27 shield. Now fizzing up right back to where he came from. 35 builds to work with.
He really could have a chance to win this spot, especially if nobody spots him out as a solo. 3 med kits left. He does have the fizz. Not too much damage to take it by storm either. This could be a perfect opportunity, but Queasy and Th0mas, they spot him out. They put a couple of seconds of focus on him before they have to focus on their own game plan. They're being targeted from above. That's Flixy with a nice shot. Podesai and Stacey even picking up eliminations, and this is all with a 1 HP Flixy causing this much disruption.
1 tick to get taken out by the storm. Pink down below, Queasy down below. It's all Titans, it's veterans up right now. 4 duos, 6 players. Pink as well with 1 HP. 2 players now with only 1. Malabuka in zone. Th0mas gets knocked down. Queasy with 5 medkits looking to take it home.
This is gonna be it. Queasy versus Malabuka, they're close by. Th0mas towards the high ground. He's healing off as well. We saw Flixy pass him over the med kits because he was too weak to make this a possibility. Th0mas is still going deeper and deeper into the zone, trying to look for those med kits. Malabuka and Queasy, they're roommates at this point, essentially on the low ground, healing off, but eventually one of them is gonna run out, and I do believe Malabuka has a few less med kits than Queasy. We saw he had a total of 5.
Increasing the distance between them. Now the roommates have been separated. Th0mas above still trying to get as far as possible from everybody, and I have no clue who has more medkits. Malabuka dropped. It's a 1v1 now. Th0mas versus Queasy.
Yeah, you can see Th0mas dropping down just a little bit. The HP's not going up. He runs out of time, and Queasy with 5 med kits with King Th0mas himself advanced to your grand finals.
Th0masHD and Queasy taking that 2nd spot in the grand finals. What a way to close it off.
Yeah, and they go ahead. They had a blunder in game 1. They went down way earlier than they'd hoped to, but they went back to basics towards Lavish Slayer. 2 quick eliminations to start off their game, and now they get to watch with the rest of us on the sidelines and watch it all unfold. And you can see that was his 4th elimination on the Reason. He was trying to escape. You see Queasy getting aggressive. Sky Jump stood no chance here, and this is what happens when you take these Titans and you put them in an end game.
I mean, look what Th0masHD did. Queasy secured the VR from the heal off, but he had all the medkits. We were saying, why does Th0masHD not have a single medkit? Because we know what Th0masHD does best. He gets those eliminations. He frags out, and that is exactly what he did in the last moments to open up that path for Queasy to win the heal off.
Yeah, but you got to give Malabuka credit for a solo for so long, and even started in 6th place. So even though they don't pick up the VR, you got to imagine their confidence has to be feeling good. 2 solid games for them, but Queasy and Th0mas, one more time, round of applause for the boys. They are FNCS Grand Finals bound.
2 games down, 3 more to be played out, but we're gonna head back to the 3 beautiful faces, Frankie, Levin, and Minnie.
Oh.